Today, we're diving into a really powerful story about one person's journey facing a chronic health diagnosis. It's a story of discovery, some real disappointments, and ultimately taking back a sense of control, all based on their own personal experience.
Okay, before we go any further, we have to start right here, because this is probably the most important message of the whole explainer. The author makes it absolutely crystal clear, this is their story, not medical advice. It's about hope, for sure, but every single health decision has to be made with a doctor. This is the foundation for everything else we're about to discuss.
You know how some of the biggest changes in life seem to start in the most ordinary ways? Well, that's exactly what happened here. There was no big dramatic event. It all began with something so many of us do without even thinking about it. A simple, routine blood test.
And that routine test, it led to a piece of news that would change everything. It was a complete and startling wake-up call. The kind that really stops you in your tracks and makes you look at things differently. Let's see what the diagnosis was.
Now, before we get to the actual results, we need to know this one term, eGFR. The easiest way to think about it is like a report card for your kidneys. It's a score that tells you how well they're doing their main job, which is cleaning your blood. A lower number, well, that means they're struggling.
And here they are, the numbers that set off all the alarms. An eGFR of 37.1. Now, just for some context, a healthy number is typically way up above 90. So this result, combined with high creatinine, pointed to a very clear diagnosis: Stage 3 chronic kidney disease. You can only imagine the anxiety that comes with hearing those words.
So after that initial shock, the author did what, frankly, most of us would do. They started searching for answers, looking for anything that could help them fight back. And this kicked off a period of trial and error, a real emotional roller coaster of hope and then disappointment.
And this timeline just shows that roller coaster perfectly. They start with that baseline diagnosis of 37.1. First, they try a grounding device. And hey, a little glimmer of hope. The eGFR bumps up to 39.5. But then, after trying an Ayurvedic treatment, the number drops right back down to where it started. It was pretty clear that this kind of approach just wasn't the solution.
After that frustrating setback, it was obvious a different strategy was needed. So, instead of looking for some external fix or magic bullet, the author decided to take control themselves, to build a personal routine from the ground up by focusing on the absolute fundamentals.
And the new plan was, surprisingly simple. And this is the important part, it demanded serious consistency for one solid month. It was built on 3 pillars. First, a daily hydration ritual. Second, a big shift in diet, cooking at home, cutting out processed stuff and extra salt. And third, just sticking to a consistent wellness routine to help manage stress.
So after 1 month of that intense discipline, it was time to go back for another blood test. This was it, the real moment of truth.
Which leads us to the big question, right? After all that effort, all that focus on these simple foundational habits, did it actually make a difference? Did the lab results move at all?
The answer? A huge yes. Just look at this comparison. The serum creatinine went down, which is good, but the really important one, that eGFR score, the kidney report card, it climbed from that baseline of 37.1 all the way up to 42.4. Let's just focus on that number for a second, 42.4. This wasn't just a tiny little bump. This was the best result the author had seen to date. It was a really significant improvement, and it was proof that this disciplined approach was having a real, measurable effect.
But with that great news comes a real sense of responsibility. So now we get to the most crucial part, understanding what these results really mean and, just as importantly, what they don't mean.
And here is that reality check, loud and clear. This is management, not a cure. The author still has stage 3 chronic kidney disease. An eGFR of 42.4 is a fantastic improvement, no doubt, but it's not a reversal. The goal here is to slow down the progression, to maintain stability. And right now, things are moving in the right direction.
So what are the big takeaways from all this? The author really boils it down to 3 key messages. First, there is hope. Lab numbers aren't necessarily set in stone, they can get better. Second, foundations first. Never ever underestimate the power of simple things like hydration and a clean diet. And finally, the most critical point of all, your doctor is your partner. None of this is safe or effective without professional medical guidance.
And that really brings us to our final thought. This entire story is about the power of being proactive, of taking an active role in your own well-being. And it leaves us with a question for ourselves.
What's one foundational step, however small it may seem, that you could take today to be more proactive in your own health journey?